Welcome to the Darkstream, Vox Day, voxday.net, and unauthorized.tv. Sorry for the false start. This is take two. But the good news is that false start occurred for a very good reason, which is, and I'll be interested to get your perspective on this, you should be getting better video than you normally do in terms of the stream. What they've done is they've moved the servers, and so moved the active server that you're receiving the stream from, and so the performance should be better for everybody who's in the United States now. You're not streaming from Europe anymore. You're getting it directly. You're getting it directly from our servers in the U.S., and that should reduce a little bit of the latency and make the whole thing a little bit more smooth. So let me know if you're still seeing any buffering, or if this solves it as we expected it did. That was actually the problem. I didn't have my RMTP configuration set correctly since we'd made the change. So anyhow, that's good news. In other good news, the God Emperor 2.0 has both spoken to Vladimir Putin, and he has released the JFK files. Like all of you, I am reasonably suspicious about the whole thing. My perspective on it can be seen here. The JFK files released. Impressive. Very nice. Now do Epstein. We'll see whether he does. We'll see whether there's anything at all interesting. I very much doubt that they're going to come right out and admit that LBJ was involved, or that the CIA handled it. But maybe they will. The weaponized autists of 4chan are already on it. They're already actively paging through all the materials, so we should be fine. Silent Draco said, I would normally see one buffer halt already, so it looks good. That's good to know. Excellent. So it looks like we're off to a good start, technically anyhow. Then like I said, Trump talked to Putin today. Doesn't look like there's a massive amount of news to come out of that yet. They were talking about, well, maybe we'll play a hockey game. Obviously that's for public consumption. Maybe the conversation was more substantive. The only good thing that really seems to have come out of it right away is that it's very clear that Europe is being pushed aside, left out of the process, and hopefully that indicates that NATO will be without the USA relatively quickly. The Rogue Roman says stream loads up immediately now, and JR says it does seem to be doing better, and I'm on an iPhone. So that's good news. Figures. All right, hang on a second. I'm going to be back. I need to do something with the dogs. Just a moment. And I'm back. Sorry about that. Yep. Yeah, actually, unfortunately, we got some bad news today about one of the dogs. The one that had the tumor in her skull had cleared up with the radiation and the medication, but we went to get the 9-month checkup, and apparently it's back in a big way. So if you feel inclined to pray for a dog, Ziani is her name, and she's a very good girl. She's the one we call the princess, and so we'd like to keep her around for as long as possible. But she was the one. She was the one who was like, "I want to go to bed now." So yeah, when the princess wants to go to bed, you got to put her to bed. Anyhow, let's see. So the performance does seem to have improved. That's good news. Hasn't been as much of an issue with my streams, but hopefully this will help considerably with Owen's. I'm sure we'll find out soon enough. So, anyhow, with regards to the JFK stuff, it's too soon to have a any reaction to it. I mean, Trump said he'd do it. Maybe he's done it. Unfortunately, that whole debacle with the non-release of the Epstein files appears to have people in a very skeptical move. How about Ian Carroll's expose on the Daily Wire and Jeremy Boring? I didn't know about that. What's going on with that? Maybe we should look it up. Let's see here. So let's turn that one off, and we'll bring up a new source. We'll go to, I never have any idea how people go through this so quickly, the way like John Delarose is always steering around. Okay, so we'll just go try going to google.com. Okay, forget Google. Who else should we try? Where did I even do that? So, is that this one? Nope. I don't even, oh, there it is, okay. I don't like Google. Let's try something else. Do you have a link, Surrey Delta Bear? That would be helpful. Okay, so let's try duckduckgo.com. Okay. Ian expose wire. Okay, it's all video. Oh, I see. It says something about Daily Wire caught gagging employees. It was an Instagram post. Okay, look, I may be on Instagram now, but I don't see most things on Instagram. Here we go. IMDb has a story. Decline. Gosh. Okay. So it says, let's move this down here. Okay, Daily Wire caught gagging employees and spying on Candace Owens. Oh, it's a video. Okay, I'm out. Yeah, don't do that, Surrey Delta Bear. If it's not real news, if it's like a video or on an Instagram post, it's insufficiently sourced. Anyhow, the Daily Wire is a corrupt gatekeeping organization that is designed to prop up Ben Shapiro and and suck up all of the interest and audience and resources of the right, just like Jordan Peterson, just like Breitbart. I mean, it's all the same thing. Um, so you know, it's fine that people expose them for the bad things that they do, but honestly, it's redundant. I mean, if you need Ian Carroll to tell you some specifics that are negative about uh, Jeremy Boring or the Daily Wire, or for that matter, Jordan Peterson, the Babylon Bee, etc., etc. I mean, you're not serious and you're not paying attention. I mean, you're just a brain dead conservative NPC. No offense to brain dead conservative NPCs, they're just what they are, right? Um, Surrey Delta Bear says UNBB called it years ago. Well, I mean, I suppose, but it's not like that took anything at all. I mean, this isn't that hard, okay? When you've got some young Jewish guy who pops up and is suddenly a big deal, it's manufactured. Especially if he's trying to appeal to conservatives and Christians. They're always gatekeepers. None of them are legitimate. None of them have ever been legitimate. The whole thing has been fake going back to William F. Buckley. Okay? All that stuff that people took seriously, Human Events, National Review, what they call Conservative Inc., CPAC. All of that is fake. All of that is propped up. And whenever there is an actual genuine American who believes in actual American ideals for the benefit of the American posterity, they get ejected. Pat Buchanan, Paul Craig Roberts. I mean, there's a reason why I was much, much more popular on WorldNet Daily than Ben Shapiro was. I even got selected by the elite syndication service because obviously they were not in, they didn't get read in. Obviously they're just like, oh, this young guy is right wing and he's smart, and of course it got nowhere. They had less success. This is ironic. Universal Press Syndicate, which had Ann Coulter and William F. Buckley on practically every editorial page in the USA, couldn't put me on 1/12 as many papers as the Chronicle Features did, the Chronicle Feature Syndicate, which is way less significant. They managed to put me in 13 papers regularly with my video game column. Now here I'm writing a serious political column for a very serious, very elite syndicate, and somehow they can't place my column anywhere. Ironically enough, it got placed in the Dallas Morning News by none other than Rod Dreher. That lasted 2 weeks. And then they canceled it. So I did a post. I'm going to read the post because I don't remember exactly what I said. But I think it's worth noting. Is it the Rod of Control? No. It's before that. And of course I can't see what I'm doing. Okay, I got to turn myself off here for a second so I can get to it. There we go. Okay, here we go. The world you live in is not the world in which you were taught to believe. A world that is purely material, in which science determines truth, in which free and democratic elections establish governments, where accidents and great men dictate the course of history, in which the press is the fourth estate holding governments accountable, and in which America is a noble idea rather than a nation comprised of the posterity of the American revolutionaries. All of these things are lies, literally satanic lies that have been used to enserf and impoverish Americans, to deprive them of their birthright, their land, the fruits of their labor, their physical health, and even their unborn children. And so that's the reality. All that stuff that you were taught in school, the Pledge of Allegiance, the Alamo, the Ride of Paul Revere, all of that stuff is a mythology. And it's a mythology that is meant to seduce you and make you susceptible to believing that someone like Ben Shapiro actually has your interests and the interests of your fellow Americans at heart. He doesn't. He hates us. His whole purpose, the whole reason that they created him and made him a media star, is because they needed someone who would try to keep people who might otherwise listen to Big Bear, who might otherwise listen to me, who might otherwise listen to anybody who tells the truth. They're basically sponges meant to soak up as much water as possible in order to deny any support, any audience to people like me, to people like the rest of the unauthorized. Fandom Pulse is being throttled by YouTube because it is becoming successful. I got kicked off of Twitter and Big Bear got kicked off of YouTube because we were too popular. We were becoming too successful. I'm not sure why they kicked me off of YouTube when they did, other than, they did it pretty much at the same time as Big Bear, so it's probably related. My numbers were not that impressive. I had like 27,000 or 34,000. Usually they don't bother, kicking you off until you've got a couple 100,000. But the same thing happened to Stefan Molyneux. And it's kind of funny because people who are not ticket takers have this strong tendency to believe that their popularity, that their numbers are going to protect them. And they don't realize that's exactly what puts the target on their chest. And it's just the way that it is. There's no point in crying about it. There's no point in whining about it. It's just important to understand that when it comes to the media, there's only 5 companies that control the entire media. So if you're not approved of by those people, you're not going to be permitted to utilize any of their platforms. And that's why I'm always immediately and intrinsically suspicious of anybody who becomes popular in less than 2 or 3 years. I mean, normally you have to work a long time, you have to pivot and reinvent yourself a couple of times, you have to change what you're doing in order to get where you are. Almost everybody who is genuine has failed at something. Almost everyone who's genuine has started off doing something else and then ended up pivoting into a position where they're doing what they're doing. Someone like a Ben Shapiro, is, groomed for becoming a media figure when he's 14 years old. And it's not because he's so smart. I mean, we haven't even seen any evidence that that Benji's smart enough for Mensa. You know, much less a standard deviation or two above that, right? So, so how is the performance of the video doing? Is anybody seeing buffering, or is it still running pretty smoothly? We're what, 20 minutes in, so I'm assuming that normally you would have encountered some little issues and stuff beforehand. I have to do something about this at some point. Do something about this delay on the chat. No buffering here, Skydog says. Um, Performance is rock solid from here. Well, have you guys ever had past issues? Would be the point. Hey, Ethersar's here. That's good to know. I was actually reading one of those science-related things. Okay, excellent. Well, it took us a while, but thanks to the devs who took care of it. Um, Apparently, unauthorized is similar to Castelia. If they get it right, it just takes a while. So, um, okay. So Terrence says he used to get it a few times a stream, but he is not having any problems tonight. Okay, that's good news. Skydive said, yes, buffering was bad enough that I gave UATV a break. Fair enough, but it's good. So I'll do a post. I'll do a post tomorrow. You know, one of the reasons why I wanted to, I didn't, if I sound like I wasn't particularly organized in my thoughts, I wasn't really planning to stream tonight until I heard that the the server switch had taken place, and so I thought, yeah, let's at least give it a try. Let's see if we run into any issues, that sort of thing. So, um, so Skydog, I know you, Skydog and Terran, I know you guys are among the few, the proud. Um, how'd you like the bonus tracks? The I actually I actually have like I actually have like two totally different mixes of Time Machine. One of them is definitely going to have to be a Vibe Patrol release. It's just not even remotely Soul Sigma. The other one, the AI sounds disturbingly like Ed Sheeran, and um, I don't I don't think I can release that. I mean, it just sounds too much like, hey, we trained it on Ed Sheeran. Can you tell? I mean, uh, there's only Silver Skull. Well, you'll hear them soon enough. You know, I've promised everybody that I will. Time Machine made me emotional, you brute. Well, it's funny. I actually got connected to someone on LinkedIn last night. Um, Old friend of mine. You've heard me talk about him. Um, College friend, and anyhow, yeah, and we were housemates after college for some time, and this was during the psychosonic era. And one of his criticisms of my work, he was the one who brought up the point that, um, I was talking the other night about head versus heart. One of the things he said a good song tells a story. He said, and your songs don't tell stories. He's like, he said, I find it hard to care very much about them because there's no story. There's no real protagonist, etc., etc. Everything is very third person, impersonal, detached, and so forth. And so I actually sent him an email saying, I sent him a copy of Time Machine and said, hey, check this out. I think I'm finally doing what you wanted, what you suggested I should be doing 30 years ago. So he was pretty pleased to hear that. I may not listen to you right away, but within 3 decades, I'm on it. Q1882 says the stream is the best it's ever been. It normally dropped multiple times by now. Well, that's good news. That's very good news. So, you know, and I'm really excited about our next step. I'm not going to talk about it because I don't know what the time frame is. But what's really cool is that actually I think I can bring that up here. I'm talking to a guy, a friend of mine. He's the concert pianist, and he's actually said he will. Now, granted, somebody's saying they'll do something and actually following through and doing it, not always the same thing. But he's very interested in how I've been successful doing crowdfunds and stuff. And so he's asked me to help him do a crowdfund for his next album, which I expect will do a lot better than mine. And I said, yeah, sure, I'd be happy to help you with that, but we really need to get you on UATV. And he's got a ton of music. He's got videos of him. I think I played a video of him. Actually, let's go ahead and see if we can find that, huh? Here's the crazy thing. He told me about this, and I didn't know about it, but it was pretty incredible. He actually did the first transcontinental or transoceanic duet via the internet. He and Herbie Hancock played a duet, and Herbie Hancock was in Berlin, and it was frankly kind of hitting on the host, which was kind of embarrassing. And because there's a Herbie Hancock concert, and he played like 3 different songs, and then but for the last one, it was a duet with Cornelius in New York, and this is the first time this ever happened. And so, you know, he's always been on the cutting edge, and so I think he'd be a really good person to bring on. Okay, so let's see, can we get to YouTube or not? I don't know how to go back with this, so let's do it differently, shall we? What we'll do is we'll try adding a YouTube source. Okay, webpage, youtube.com. I don't have a, oh, there we go, search. Okay, so let's go,
à partir de 6 bouteilles pour 2,89 €, ou alors jeu de clés à choc sans fil pour 69,90 €. L'idéal, c'est l'idéal.
skip. well, I'm not going to subject you to the entire piece, but so what do you think about getting him on UATV? You know, having not just the videos, but also the music, and so I think he's very amenable. Now, if you want to hear something, if you want to hear something really funny, I mean, obviously, I mean he's been a friend of mine for I don't know, since 2010, I think. So we've been friends for about 15 years, and we met at an event in Barcelona and just absolutely hit it off. Um, I saw him play at the event and just talked to him afterwards, and it was funny because and this is what amuses me is he's one of the musicians I was talking about who is like genuinely blown away by the stuff that I've been doing with the AI music. And I just think it's so funny that somebody who's literally a world class musician not only is like impressed by it, but he, he came up with an idea last night. And I'm like, my first response was, well, that's just not possible. And because what he wanted to do is he wanted to do a duet with AI. And I'm like, well, we could play it with like you responding to the AI, um, but it wouldn't be. I said, it takes time to process input, you know, because he said, well, could I play something and then have it play something? I said, well, yeah, that would theoretically be possible, but um, it's not going to be like a live duet thing. And so he's like, oh, okay. But you can probably see why we get along. We both. I, I was, I was, I was saying this to Andrew, and he's like, "Yeah, you guys are both crazy," but um, but it is funny how uh, people that know nothing about music are like, "Oh, you're just typing in a prompt and then it's just spitting that out," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's not how it works." And and then these absolute musical maestros, these world class musicians are like, "Wow, that's amazing." But what's really cool is I can mention it now. In addition to the movie script that we've been signed to do, um, Chuck Dixon and I have just signed one of the Archaven products has been optioned, and we will be writing the script for it. And what I'm doing is I'm putting together a group to do soundtracks. So I'll do the AI stuff. Um, E-Rock will do, obviously like the metal stuff, and then Cornelius can do the jazz and the piano stuff. And so um, I think this should be this should be even more effective than Power 7 was back in the day, which I always considered Power 7 to be a failure. It was because I got the four guys from Psychosonic, and then the guy who produced the Diamond and Pearls, and then Kurt from Information Society. Um, I kind of put them together to do soundtracks. But after we did the first soundtrack, it became clear that nobody wanted to actually do sound effects. They thought they did, but then they didn't really. And so I kind of got into my own game development stuff. But what was interesting was that somebody put out a list of the top 30 game soundtracks ever, and two of them were Power of Seven people. I mean, that's pretty amazing when you think about it. When you think about all the soundtracks are done, you know. Sturdy Delta Bear says, I really hope the upcoming Jason Statham film is a hit for Chuck. I think it will be. Um, Everything that I've been hearing has been very positive. Everything that Chuck's been hearing from the people involved is very positive. And, I think I think it's going to be fantastic. I think it's going to exceed expectations. Snow White got, one of the reasons that one of the potential limiting factors of the success of A Working Man was the concern that people would be focused on going to see Snow White. Well, we know that's not an issue. We know that's not going to happen. And so, and we're going to do the crowdfund right after it launches. So we're going to do the comics that are based on the actual books, and we're going to do a series of leather books that are, I think it's going to be 3 books that contain all 12 novels. They're not very big, and so it's going to be, I think, a really fantastic way to launch Chuck into the stratosphere, and especially if we're already going to be doing some more script writing, more movie writing, and honestly, the stuff that we're working on right now is I think it's really good. And the nice thing is, even if they never make the movie, even if they never find the funding or whatever, we'll just make a comic out of it. The story will be there. But what's really exciting, and unfortunately I can't say anything about it yet, is that there's some amazing new technology that's being done to do pseudo live action, like stuff that looks like live action but it's actually animated, and then normal animation stuff. And that's the second group that we're working with. And so if this works, if their technology works, and I have seen some really good examples of it, then that there's a reason they're talking to Chuck and me. The reason they're talking to Arkhaven, they're super excited about all the stuff that we've done, all the stuff that we've got. I mean, I told the guy, just go check out Arkhaven, see what you think. And he came back with like a list of 8 or 9 different comics that he wanted to do. And I'm like, well, look, let's just do one. Let's just do the first one, and let's see how it goes. I may have many failings, but I do learn from my mistakes, and I did learn, from the Rebels Run debacle. So, so we're going to figure this out. We may get knocked down, we'll get back up again, and we'll come back stronger, better, and harder. So, anyhow, I already recorded something. I don't think it'll be giving it away too much. I mean, I have no idea whether this will end up being in the soundtrack or not, but let's fire this up just for kicks, huh? Oh, that's still going. Hang on, let me turn that off. See, it's a good thing I turned it off. Where are we? Okay. So this is a track called Ghosts of Bangkok, and maybe you'll one day see it in a movie. Let's see here. Where did I put it? Okay. So it doesn't tell you much about what we've been writing, but it should give you an idea. And let's just say that if you like the Cryptars from Midnight's War, there's a character you're going to really love. So we actually wrote it with one particular actor in mind who Chuck Dix and I both love, who's not Jason Statham, by the way. And we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But that'll give you some kind of idea how things are shaping up with regards to that particular project. Anyhow, that's all I've got for tonight. Thanks so much for helping out with this test, and delighted to hear that everything went well. By the way, if you're interested, I'm back on Instagram now. I'm still on Instagram. I'm just actually, trying to use it occasionally. So if you happen to be on Instagram and you want to follow, it's Vox_day. The Rogue Roman says there's potential of a Midnight's War film. Definitely. 100%. What we're doing right now, if this particular project is successful, and the technology the other project proves out, I would almost go so far as to say that there will be a Midnight's War movie. So anyhow, that's all I've got for tonight. I actually need to do some work on this project, so I will bid you all a good night, and remember to pray for the puppy if you would be so kind, and we'll look forward to seeing you at the next Darkstream.